brother sibling movie.
Ooh, crack it. Crack it.
Happy rosé.
Rosé.
Dry cider inspired rosé. Hey, it's the cup that I got you for your birthday.
It's the cup you got me from the Atlanta Botanical Garden that I love so much and I use all the time.
The Atlantic Botanical Gardens is the botanical gardens in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
It's a lot of kelp. They could really do with a little, move some shit around.
They could really spruce it up a little bit. They could add some more to it.
I really could. No, Atlanta Botanical Gardens. What a delightful place. How's your rosé inspired cider?
Dry.
Dry, darling. It's dry.
As advertised, they say
Yeah.
it's dry right on the thing, so I'm taking their word for it. Oh, okay, funny story. Jay was in town because we were both going to a friend's wedding, and we thought, wouldn't it be funny to show up in the Dumb and Dumber outfits that Harold and Lloyd wear in the movie, the bright orange suits and baby powder blue tuxedos. And we did, and it was a huge hit. To be fair, we didn't show up to the actual wedding, like the ceremony in it. We showed a little restraint, and then when we went to what was basically the reception, we were like, "Oh, we're gonna change, and this is gonna be awesome." And then everyone was like, because it was a very like, we're gonna go and hang out in the we're gonna go back to our cab. It was a very small wedding, so like the family members were like, we're gonna go back to the rental cabin that we're staying at or whatever, which is in Bodega Bay, which is very nice and lovely. Aww. But we were like, this is the perfect opportunity. So everybody was basically like in their sweatpants and stuff by the time they got back, and we show up in these like powder blue and bright orange suits, and it was we were the belles of the ball, I'll just put it that way.
Love that. I love that. Did Mama Marta hook you up, or did you have these pre-arranged?
They did. Keenan Dennison hooked us up.
Keenan knows what the
fuck
is
Marta
up.
K as well.
Keenan knows what the fuck is up. Well, that's amazing.
Oh, it was beautiful.
What? Oh.
Congratulations, Henry and Allison, on your betrothal. On your wedding. Betrothal is like before. Yeah, I know words.
Betrothal,
I'm a vocabulary expert.
Betrodal's when you can still fucking get out of it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Nope, they're locked in for life, suckers.
Motherfuckers. Well, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Allison will suffer more than Henry. I love you, Henry. You're my best friend.
Oh, God. Y'all, this is going to be a fun one. We're recording later in the day than we normally do. I'm getting this really horrible fucking microphone bullshit fucking piece of shit goddamn cock-sucking cunt. I swear to God. Why?
Oh my God, you sound like me. You sound like me earlier today and our mother yesterday.
Oh.
Man.
We're a cursey bunch.
As you were about to say, should we get started on this thingamajigger?
What I was going to say was, oh, Evan, what are you doing? Hopping on a Segway.
Oh, toot, toot, toot. That's the sound a Segway makes, am I right?
Get your safety vest on.
Segway. Oh no, I should have both hands on at the same time. Fuck! I'm falling over a cliff. Oh man. Segways are hard. They're harder than they look.
Have you ever been in a Segway? I never have. I've never been that cool.
I've ridden a Segway. They're more, they seem, again, it's one of those things where like, it seems simple, but you take one arm, one hand, or one foot, or one anything off of it, and suddenly it's all a death trap. Like, this thing is gonna run me, run over me. It's gonna take me in circles and lead me out into traffic.
Okay, next time.
Did you know the guy who invented segways died on a Segway? No, honestly, wait.
Learning about a stranger's death has never made me as obscenely happy as what you just said.
Oh my god. Wait a
Does that mean
minute.
I'm a bad person
Segway
if I...
CEO. Maybe he didn't die, but it
Oh,
looks
fuck,
like
that's
he
amazing.
definitely. Okay, yes. Today I learned the Segway inventor's still alive, but I do think he rode the Segway off of a cliff.
What? Oh my
Oh
god.
man.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, this is all fake news. I don't this is all hearsay. I don't know if this is actually true, but it's a good story, and that's as good a segue as any
Hey,
for this story about a good
a story
story.
about a good story. Welcome, friends and chosen family, to Brother Sibling Movie, a podcast where two siblings, that's us, talk about movies that we love from our childhood and some that we may be discovering for the very first time, centered around a different theme each season.
I'm your brother, Evan Kerna.
And I'm your sibling, Mare Morgan. And this week's movie is Big Fish. And in our notes, instead of writing what I normally do, which is like a clever little one-line synopsis, I just wrote, and this week's movie is Big Fish, blah, blah, blah.
You have no excuse. You bought $1,000 AC unit.
I know I have no excuse. It was $220.
Okay,
She's
sorry.
a budget
Yes,
model.
you're right.
She's a budget model.
Budget model AC. Have you named her?
I haven't named her yet. I feel like her name is like Agatha or like Bertha.
Whoa, okay.
Like she's heavy.
She's a little witchy.
She's heavy. She's a heavy girl and she's magical, but I did turn it off. It's been going all day, so it is a cool normal temperature in my office.
Okay.
But
Excellent.
I did turn it off because I was a little concerned about the sound.
Understandable as well.
Understandable, but also it's like finally, oh my god, it's been like 82 degrees with like 40% humidity. I'm like, am I living in fucking heaven? What is going on? It's fantastic.
I am the woman of the hour. I am the person of the hour. I drink your milkshake.
You know, it really is. I've just been walking around like we all do in Virginia when it starts to get not punishing. Like, I really am that bitch. Like, that's the whole vibe of everybody in Virginia right now.
Everybody is like horrendously oppressed,
Yes.
and then they start walking around like they own the streets.
Truly. Oh my god. Sorry. Get back into the intro. Jesus fucking Christ. This is gonna be like a herding cats day. We should record later in the day more often. This is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a good vibe. This season's theme is revisionist fairy tales.
Yeah.
Different types of fairy tales, reinterpretations of old ones, remixes, a big old mashed potato bowl of fairy tale juices and starch and cheese, and it's just like whatever you do with a fairy tale, that's cool to me, man. You know what I'm saying?
For those of you that are
reinterpretations from reinterpretations
who are not watching the video on YouTube, just the horror on my face. Just the like, fucking, what? Are we like the KFC bowl of podcasts? I hate that.
If we are the KFC bowl of podcasts, I will jump for joy. I want to be a little bit of everything and not good for anyone. That's the vibe I'm bringing into the podcast world.
I think we are solidly there, my man. I think we've nailed it already. We're there.
AI is going to make it so that podcasting is not a thing that people do anymore, because anything that is informative and interesting or educational will just get taken over by having two fake chatterboxes chatting to each other. So we have to pick up the slack and make the podcast that only humans can make, of just stupid drivel,
just
laughing at our own jokes and being complete R words on air. That's what we are here
We
for.
are here to be the ding-dongiest ding-dongs that have ever danged a dong.
GD right.
GD effing right. And you can slap that on a t-shirt.
We will.
I'm gonna
maybe
start making that my catchphrase on this show. I just decided in this moment. And you can slap that
I like that
on a t-shirt.
A ding dong dingy dingy
A
dilly.
ding dong who's ever dinged a dong. All right.
This week's movie, as you pointed out already, is Big Fish,
Big Fish.
directed by Tim Burton in 2003, I believe.
Yep.
And I'm going to venture a guess and say that we like this movie, but
Fuck
we can
yeah,
get into that
dude.
later.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely. Fuck yeah. Love this movie. Just sorry,
how do we usually do
not
this?
to give away the plot or the like end goal, but like I like this movie. So
right.
So we slightly different from our first 2 seasons. We're switching it up. We're divesting from AI. Chat GPT, thank you for your service, but you are no longer needed. We have real users on various cinemaphile platforms that we use. So we are gonna, Evan has been gracious enough to pull a summary from IMDb, as well as just a veritable cornucopia of user reviews on this film. We usually like to do like a 5-star review, like a 5-star or 10-star review, and then like a half-star or 1-star review, depending on if we're getting it from LetterBoxd or IMDb. So what portion of this do you want me to read? Do you want to read all of it? These are all yours. You tell me.
Why don't you read the synopsis from IMDb?
Okay, awesome.
And I will, and we should trade off doing the reviews.
Yes, done. Amazing. Okay, from IMDb, this is user Huggo.
I would pronounce it Huggo personally. Maybe it's Hugo with 2 G's. So I'm assuming Huggo.
My man, that's Huggo. All right.
That's Huggo.
Huggo, not a Fuggo. All right, from user Huggo. Synopsis from IMDb. United Press International journalist Will Bloom and his French freelance photojournalist wife, Josephine Bloom, who is pregnant with their first child, leave their Paris base to return to Will's hometown of Ashton, Alabama, on the news that his father, Edward Bloom, stricken with cancer, will soon die, he being taken off chemotherapy treatment. All right. Although connected...
Awkward sentence, but it gets the point across.
Really gets where we're going. Although connected indirectly through Will's mother / Edward's wife, Sandra Bloom, Will has been estranged from his father for 3 years since his and Josephine's wedding. Will's issue with his father is the fanciful tales Edward has told of his life, all his life, that Edward has told about his life for the entirety of William's life. Just want to... Not only to Will, but the whole world. Sorry. Okay, wait. Sorry. Can we get that one clean? Hang on.
You're gonna need to parse this sentence out.
Get it on a chalkboard. Okay, we're gonna retake the sentence clean. Okay.
Really trying not to yell "Get to the chopper" right now. I don't know why that came to my head, but yes, let's get it clean.
I've been listening to too much Lonely Island Seth Meyers podcast.
Later, Quades. So good.
Shout out. 10 out of 10.
I fucking freaked out when that happened too. I was like, I had exactly the same reaction that they did. I was like, what the fuck? Fucking Arnold. Yes! Anyway, okay.
Right. Sorry.
Get it clean.
Get it clean. Will's issue with his father is the fanciful tales Edward has told of his life, all his life, not only to Will, but the whole world. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna do this, man. As a child,
that was good.
As a child, when Edward was largely... I feel like I need to take this like so much slower. that I was initially.
This is why I picked this one. It's ridiculous.
Okay, sorry.
Oh shit.
As a child,
Audio poison.
I'm having a
Okay.
blast. Fuck it. As
No, me too.
As a child, when Edward was largely absent as a traveling salesman, Will believed those stories, but now realizes that he does not know his father, who, as he continues to tell these stories, he will never get to know unless Edward comes clean with the truth before he dies. Evan, God fucking damn it, I was so close to getting that without laughing.
I tried. I tried so hard. Okay. It's like a fucking Cormac McCarthy novel. It's like, these sentences never end.
Wild. Also, just wild.
Barely any punctuation.
I was gonna say just like wild swings with syntax. Okay.
Oh Lord, way to go, Huggo.
Oh, fucking Huggo, you are crushing it. On the brink of his own family life beginning, Will does not want to be the kind of father Edward has been to him. One of those stories from Edward's childhood, that he saw his own death in the glass eye of a witch, led to him embracing life since he would not have to fear death, knowing when and how it would eventually come. The question is whether Will be able to reconcile.
Whether will be able to reconcile. Oh man, this is probably not actually funny to anyone. Will.
Okay, the question is
when Will's
will be able to
Okay.
reconcile Edward's stories against his real life, either directly from Edward before he dies and or from other sources, and thus allow Will to come to a new understanding of himself and his life, past, present, and future. Huggo, nailed it. I am.
Lord, I've got the vapors. I can't.
Oh my god.
Boy. All right.
Okay, well, so
this is the best change we've made to the podcast ever.
10 out of 10. All right.
Fuck you, ChatGPT. You can't give us this kind of fucking entertainment value.
No, again, I don't think anybody else thinks this is funny. But again, did we make this podcast for anybody else? No, we did not. We made it.
Not really.
For us. All right.
Oh, God.
Go. Give me some.
All right.
Me with that good shit.
Hang on. Give me 10 seconds. I'm just going to rearrange the order. So all we have to do is read them in order.
Great. Oh, good. Are you switching off a 5-star and a half-star? Yes.
Yes,
am I going to take the half stars?
Oh my
god. Please give me the half stars.
Oh, I guess you will. Oh, yeah. I hadn't anticipated that. I just figured I'd end it on a 5, open it on a 5 and end it on a 5. But yes, that means you'll be reading the half stars. Okay.
This is actually kind of fun.
Mare is the hater for this particular read through.
Drinking that haterade. All right, go ahead.
Okay. These are all from LetterBoxd. Okay. This is a 5-star review from Felipe. This movie is sad, but it's also happy. It's heartwarming, but also heartbreaking. It's mature, but also childish. It's amazing, and it makes me tear up every time.
Fuck yeah, Felipe. That's a great encapsulation. That's a nice little like few couplets. I love that.
I know it reads like a haiku.
It kind of does. You know? I like that. That's a very poetic take. All right. Well, this is a half-star review from Flixie H. Tim Burton's one-trick pony style gaslighting people into thinking a movie where a doctor, his own mom, and his own wife push a man into accepting his absent, obnoxious father's narcissistic delusions is some kind of tear-jerking masterpiece. Like, I'm trying to be fair here, but we're talking about a guy who spent so much time away, his kid grew up thinking he had another family somewhere. Crying face emoji. One of the fake scenarios he makes is about letting a friend sell himself into servitude. Crying face emoji. To Danny DeVito, who's a dog. Crying face emoji. And there's an ass shot. Scrunch face emoji. And then he proceeds to stalk and love bomb an engaged girl he doesn't even know until she chooses him. Crying face emoji. His son is literally begging for one truth, and in the end, he has to make up a story for his dad instead. Crying face.
So I picked these. I picked these half-star reviews because I was like, these are pretty good points, and I feel like that they should be considered in the context of enjoying this movie for what it is.
I love it.
It's like, oh man, this is not. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
CH, you're not wrong. I can't fault you. I cannot fault you.
Okay. This is a 2.5-star review that I pulled mainly just because I thought it was funny from user PD187. Tim Burton's dead dad bullshit, trying so hard to manipulate me and never 1/100,000th as sad as when the penguin dies in Batman Returns. Nice, PD187.
I love that.
Hot takes.
I love that. That's somehow the pinnacle of sadness. Is Penguin dying in Batman Returns? It's like that's the saddest moment in cinema history. Fuck you,
the Penguin who in that movie. let us not forget that in Batman Returns, Danny DeVito as the Penguin literally eats a person's face off.
Actually, 100,000% does that on film. That's what he does, and it's.
Oh man, so
love
good.
You. All right, another half-star review from X.
Cielew? Ciellew.
Yeah, it's Xciellew. Sure. You can really feel that this film was made by a white man and for white men. Not only that, it also romanticizes the American dream, where a stay-at-home wife is waiting for you, the man, enclosed in her white picket fence prison. This white man also enchants every woman he meets, is the hero of his small town, and then enslaves the freaks of this world to a circus. And I didn't even mention the most racist scene I have seen in a while in a film.
I did think about that as I was watching it. I was like, ooh, that's not, okay, well, jump past that.
I think it's great to find whimsy in your life, or even enhancing you stories to add spice to your life. But when the stories are from a narcissistic boomer, I'm not interested. Fucking
again.
Fair points. Fair hit.
Again, fair points about it. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I have got to include this one because
really
it's like, you know what? I get it. Okay, the last one, 5-star reviews from user Clownhead writes, IMDb trivia. Every single drop of water in this movie is one or more of my tears.
Simple, elegant, to the point. Love.
Simple. Oh my god. Wait, I'm going to read a couple other one-word reviews of Big Fish because they're just so great. My dad kept saying the giant looked like Adam Driver, so I think that ruined a bit of the experience. These are 4-star reviews. The last good film Tim Burton has made. The only good film Tim Burton has made in this century. The best film Tim Burton has ever made. God, I hate Tim Burton. uh, okay, wait. Does Tim Burton only like making films about people called Edward or what?
Fuck yes!
Okay, last one. Sorry, but 31-year-old Ewan McGregor saying, "I'm 18" is the funniest thing ever.
I did have that moment where I was like, no, dude. Sorry.
I don't think so. I
I
don't think
don't
so.
think so. Oh my god.
Oh, well, we've had
Fuck
as
me.
good a time as we're ever going to
All
have
right.
doing anything on this
That is
podcast.
accurate and true. All right.
We'll be right back after these paid sponsorships with more Brother Sibling Movie.
I was slurping through that entire thing. You're gonna need to do it again.
This week's sponsor is Floormore, a revolutionary new way to manage stress. We all struggle to keep up with the daily grind of living in a rising authoritarian state with ever increasing wealth disparity, social injustice, global conflicts, and the near constant threat of fascist regimes around the world. But that's where Floormore can help. Floormore offers a break from the noise of modern life and offers a simple solution. Just lay your tired carcass down on the floor and disassociate. In the Floormore app, you can choose from several enticing soundscapes like silence and the absence of sound and 0 decibel symphony. Give yourself a break and lay the F down. Let your mind wander and your body go boneless. Floormore. Think less. Use our exclusive code FUCKITALL and get 100% off of Floormore.
Thank you, Floormore, for being your sponsor. I use you most days.
I am in a constant state of dissociation. In fact, I don't even know what I'm doing right now.
No one knows. What are we? Millennials who've lived through like our 5th global crisis? Fuck it all. Use Floormore.
But you know, it really sucks. Our parents telling us we could be anything we wanted to. Fucking hippies!
Oh,
Go back to Woodstock.
Get a job, hippies.
Get a job, parents.
Oh,
Lord.
All right.
And we're back. So let's continue our discussion of fucking this movie that we're talking about. Big Fish. That's the one.
Yeah. So yeah, man, this movie came out in 2003. I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theater or like very soon after it came out. It was there was this sort of like I feel like Penelope somewhat fits in this genre as well of like delightful surrealism that's very American in a way that it's hard to kind of put my finger on, but I don't know.
I think the South, since this takes place in Alabama, I think the South has kind of like a history of like tall tales, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of like American folklore kind of is its own kind of like revisionist fairy tale genre, right? Like John Henry and Pecos Bill and the sort of mythology of America, you know? And there's a lot of sort of like tropes of that going on in this movie, I think, too. I mean, not specifically about Americana, but like it is very much like a sort of a fantasy adjacent fairy tale type movie.
It's
but
larger
I don't know.
than life.
I do think it exists in that. Yeah.
It's larger than life. And I think the easy comparison to make with Big Fish, which by the way, Big Fish is based on a novel. It's called
by Daniel Wallace.
Big Fish, a novel of mythic proportions. Which now I'm like, man, I really want to read this. It sounds really fun.
Totally, it'd be interesting to see because like what, because like, have you ever read the story that Forrest Gump is based on?
No, I haven't, and that's what I was gonna say. Is like that's the easy comparison.
It's like totally different, you know. It's like I mean, it's the same things happen, but the more or less, but the way it's presented is totally different.
Yeah.
It gives you a completely different flavor than the movie
Yeah, and
does.
I'd be interested. And apparently the guy, the person that wrote that like adapted this into a screenplay, who's
John
John
August,
August, uh, is a friend.
longtime host of the great screenplay podcast Script
No
Notes.
shit, is that John August?
That's John
Oh,
August and Craig Mazin.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Dang.
I listen to John August's voice every
You
week.
do? I mean, I know about script notes in the way that you know about like your best friend's cousin, kind of. You know? You're
Right.
like, I've
Yeah.
never met this person, but you talk about them a lot, and so I feel like I know them even
Totally.
though I've never face to face. Um,
Yeah, if you're not actively interested in Hollywood business or the craft of writing screenplays specifically, it's not like it's a thing that you would be
yeah, no,
listening
I'm
to, you
deeply
know?
not. That's not my vibe.
Yeah.
I but so John August is a friend of Daniel Wallace
Oh,
and
cool.
read the like manuscript of Big Fish, a novel of mythic proportions, and basically was like, this has to be a movie. And like, as
Mhm.
the book was being published, he had already secured like the movie rights for it because he
Yeah.
was so just like, yes, like, we've got to make this into a movie. So good job, John
I never
August.
really knew Totally. I never really knew that part of the story, but it makes sense because it makes sense that it was sort of John August's
Yes.
baby and that Tim Burton kind of came on to give it the Tim Burton stank that he
Well, and
does,
it
you
was
know, because John August is also has also made the Big Fish musical
oh,
as well. So he's like
interesting. So it really
so he
is
has
his.
taken it through a few different iterations of the
Yeah, and
sort of
this
its journey as a story in the public
well, and
eye,
apparently initially they were courting Steven Spielberg to direct this.
which I could
I
totally
could
see. I I thought about that as I was
I
watching
know,
this
I
movie
did
because
too.
there are things that are totally like obviously there's things that like make it a Tim Burton movie, and I think it's his most like maybe well, I don't know. I never saw Big Eyes or whatever, but like it's probably his most like mature quote unquote movie as
I would
far as I
also say
know.
like it's his most you know how I would describe it is that I think it's his most maybe like restrained, refined,
There you go. Mhm.
like uh
Yeah,
he is using
and
his directorial flair to service someone else's vision in a really pleasing way. But
mm,
it's not
totally.
his like it's not the Tim Burton show. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it's yeah, and that's why, there are pieces of it that stand out as very Tim Burton-esque,
Absolutely.
right? And, like, those but if you took those out, I don't know, it just got me thinking like, "Huh, I wonder what other director's version of this movie would have looked like," you know? Because I could see a lot of other directors taking the subject matter and also doing great things
For
with it.
sure.
Like Steven Spielberg, obviously, this is totally like within his wheelhouse
Absolutely.
of kind of like reinterpreting like a like a strained parent relationships with a kid and larger than life fairy tale
Yeah.
kind of stuff like believing in magic, that whole thing. But I don't know, but also someone like who else would have been an interesting choice? Who was I thinking of? Well, insert any sort of other sort of, directors who also sort of peddle in, the sort of family drama fairy tale space or
Yeah, or
whatever.
like
Be curious to
if
see
this was like
Taika Waititi's like
yeah,
version of
or
Big
like
Fish,
Ryan
like
Johnson's version of Big
there
Fish,
you go,
you know,
exactly. Yeah, he would have been a good candidate as
as well,
well.
and it's, and I think what I like because when I was reading, I was like, "Oh, they're recording Steven Spielberg to do this," and he was working on Catch Me If You Can, which another great movie, um,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh, it's there is something about, because this is obviously, I would say, not necessarily what I would think about when I think about like a Tim Burton movie, like a capital T, capital B Tim Burton movie. But
Right.
it's but I like that there is that amount of enjoyment in the weird that comes with Tim
Yeah.
Burton, where even though maybe this
Yeah.
wasn't like his baby and his project and his like Artur's vision, he still brought like an amount of weird to it that I think is really enjoyable, along with just like
Yeah.
the visual language of the film of having like these kind of wild sets and crazy costumes and like camera tricks and stuff like that that is really really fun. And I'm like, man, I
Yeah,
wonder.
I think
Sorry, go ahead.
but no, I mean, I think you're right, but I think you're also right that it's like very what makes it interesting is how restrained
Yeah,
that part of it is,
it's here
like it
and
is
there.
fantastical and it has the fun weird. One part that really sticks out to me is like when he starts growing as a kid, he starts growing really fast and then he has the bone
Yeah,
thing and then they like put him in a machine to
that's
massage
like
his
pumping.
body. And it's like this is an Edward Scissorhands
100%,
suit. Like
100%.
no, like this is obviously an Edward Scissorhands suit,
So real.
like okay.
And
Yeah.
and those things and like the huge fish that Edward wrestles,
Mhm.
that's this like incredible animatronic, just like so
Yeah, which
rad.
I suspect was the Stan Winston's
I would assume. I
bit
didn't.
to do on this. I watched the credits and I was like, Stan Winston's,
I
Creature
see
Shop
that.
is in
I
there
can see that.
again, and I was like, I bet they did that
I
fish.
bet they did that fish. Yeah, so it is also, I think this is the first time that in a season we've had one director with two different films as well.
Yes, yes. We came close on doing good old Guillermo,
Yeah.
GOG
Ugh,
as I like to call him, twice. But we decided to save Pinocchio for a later time. But yeah, if there's anybody to bring on to if there's any director to have on a podcast twice, it would be Tim Burton for revisionist fairy
that was
tales. I
the
mean,
thing.
every one of his fucking movies is basically like
Yeah,
that.
it
So
was it's one of those things that I this is the part of obviously like the kind of Hollywood machine or whatever that I don't understand because that's very much not my world. I'm like, do you want to talk about soil health? Like that's where I'm at. I'm not like talking about studio systems. But I
Mhm.
think what is interesting is that, there are obviously Tim Burton movies that are like very much like this is Tim Burton's entire vision and he is involved in every step of it. But then there's things like this
Yeah.
where the studio is like, well, we have the rights to this film and it's greenlit and we want to make it happen and we want this director. Oh, but they dropped out. Now we want this director, but they dropped out. And then,
Mhm.
and it's an interesting thing to me because ultimately at the end of the day, I think all artists are like there is an amount of workaday craftsmanship
Oh
to
yeah, for
to
sure. Yeah.
any
I mean,
artist
you have to be kind of like you have to sort of be comfortable with the day-to-day grind of just
just doing it.
for a director it's like getting the shots done and getting and staying on schedule. Like that's basically
Exactly.
your the boring part of the job,
Right, like,
right?
you are just, like, running the show. But still, you still get those flavors, right? You still get his vision or his some of those visuals and those things that I think are quintessential to Tim Burton, and you're putting it in this different kind of context that allows
Mhm.
like, this movie is not one, so for example, like, now if I'm, like, watching, like, Sweeney Todd or Charlie and the
Mhm.
Chocolate Factory or whatever, I'm kinda like, "Okay, I get it." Like, I get your shtick, I get
Right.
your beats, I
Uh-huh.
get the thing. I
Yeah.
know what it is,
Mhm.
it's there, fine. But this movie
Yeah.
still, like, delights me because of that restraint, because it's not, like, hitting you over the head with a very
I
specific
mean,
aesthetic.
the ultimate restraint of just like not casting Johnny Depp as the main character, right? It's like,
Truly,
oh, Edward Bloom is not like,
Johnny
you know,
Depp.
a dark haired sad boy. It's not Johnny Depp. Yeah.
And it's
And can we talk for a second just about Ewan
ah!
McGregor? Perfect. I
Oh my
honestly
god.
like, I, I, my, my male role model in most things is definitely a Ewan McGregor
I
out there.
would
I am
yeah.
attempting to emulate him in Big Fish and Moulin Rouge like every moment of my
That
life that I'm seeing around people. In my downtime, maybe not so much.
wow. I have known you
Did that blow your
you know
mind?
what it is? I have known you literally my entire life,
Uh
and
huh.
I'm like, that of, like, Edward Bloom and Christian from Moulin Rouge, I'm like,
Mhm.
that clicks something in where I'm like, "Yes. Ex yes.
Those are the pictures I show to my barber to be like, do this to my
Please
hair,
make
please.
this happen to my
Make
face."
this happen on my head. That would be
I
sweet.
mean, you both have, Ewan McGregor obviously is Scottish. You look like you should be Scottish. Um,
Right.
there's a strong
What are you talking
oh
about?
god. Um, it's a strong one, but it's like Ewan McGregor, because it's one of those things where and Christian and Moulin Rouge is such another good, kind of analog of there is Ewan McGregor, especially at this time in his career, kind of at, like, early 2000s, was so good at that he's obviously, like, a fantastic actor in, like, comedies, dramas, like, watch Trainspotting, it'll
Yeah.
blow your mind. Watch The Phantom
Yeah.
Menace, it will not blow your mind. Uh,
It will be great to
it'll
drink
be great
to.
to drink to, but he has such a good, like, wide-eyed, guileless, genuine, smiley face.
Well, yeah.
He was
That's what I
so
say.
perfect. He was so perfect for
I
this
write
role.
I put something like that in my thoughts and takeaways.
Oh,
That's like
interesting.
he's if this was any other person, you would want to punch them in the face, but
Yes,
somehow Ewan McGregor pulls off this combination of being confident and naive and charming and like all of those things rolled into one, and it's perfect for this particular role because
yes.
Albert Finney does a great job of kind of like
Yeah,
being this guy who is also very charming and larger than life, right?
yes.
But because you're seeing it and like really most of the movie's about him, but to me the main character of the movie is Will. Like he is the one who has
Absolutely.
to
He
go
is the
through a
main yeah,
change and understand something about his father, you know, like to get at something deeper about his understanding of his parent who he's never understood.
yeah.
But I think that it's really I don't know. Albert Finney does a great job. They both do such a great job of turning this person who really could be like it would be so easy for Edward Bloom to be kind of like a schmuck
That's
or like some kind of smarmy asshole, you
and
know? But like he never comes off that way. He comes off
no.
as like completely charming and like that is very much in the hands of the actor to pull that off, you know? So kudos to both of them for like really doing this character solid
Yes.
like and doing the movie a solid by being able to be both things, to be a person who is kind of never really telling the truth but also somebody who is like you can't help but be taken away by their
And
stories, you know.
and I think that the heart of that because you think, like, yeah, if somebody kind of was never really telling the truth and all of their stories were kind of tall tales and, I don't know that maybe not a trustworthy person. There is
Right.
a lack of malice and a lack of any desire. It's that there's no desire to hoodwink you, but there is a desire
Right.
to, like, astound and amaze you, and I think
Yeah, to entertain
to
you.
entertain you, and I think that's kind of where that charm comes in. Because 'cause you're right, like, it would be so easy to make Edward a despicable character, like, it's right on that teeter,
Mhm.
but because of the characterization that Ewan McGregor and Albert Finney bring to it, you're like, "Yeah, I'd be annoyed if you were my dad too, but I would love to hang out with you at, like, a barbecue, and
Right. I
I would
know.
love to talk to you," like, it's kind of the thing of, like, it's an awesome, like, friend's parent.
Right, yeah. He's the quintessential friend's parent
He
to
is the
know. Be like,
awesomest friend's
"Oh, we're gonna
parent.
go hang out with Ed today.
Like,
Oh,
"Oh,
Ed's
hell
fucking
yeah, that's gonna be
crazy. That
awesome." But then if you are
Yeah, he's gonna tell us all about the Korean, or I guess the Asian War. We'll get into that little scene. I was like, he's in those scenes, he's like reading a book that says English to Asian. I was like, oh my God. And yet also, okay, I'm kind of glad they left things like that in. I'm not going to try to like apologize for like
I
whatever
think
the
it's
racist stuff.
okay to not
But it's
apologize.
also
Yeah.
kind of like, cuz it's his interpretation of his story, right? So
Yes.
like those moments where he's like where like he does a good thing for his giant friend, but then Danny DeVito's like, "Do you know what the word indentured servitude
Yes.
means?" And it's like, because it's true, like these are the kinds of things that, like, well off, like, or whatever, not well off, but privileged white guys of the era
Yeah.
might be doing, thinking that they were doing a good thing, and like fighting the war against, the
The Asians?
foreigners, thinking they're doing a good, right, the
Like,
Asians.
question mark? What?
I know. I'm dead positive they're speaking Mandarin Chinese, and I'm like, when did we ever fight a war with China? I mean, besides like right now, but
Well,
that's
that's a
beside the
different
point.
thing. That's done with the computers. Yeah,
Right, that's a computer war,
there is but that's
the old pewter war.
pew pew. Pew
Pew pew
pew.
pew. The pewter war. I like
Pew.
it.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, like I think part of me is like glad that those things are in there because it's all Edward's story, and that is kind of how he would interpret it because he's a fucking racist old boomer, like for
Yeah.
lack of a better word for it.
Well, and
It's like
exactly.
I'm doing good by whatever by his standards of the time,
Right, but it really the thing that I kept thinking about and I kept coming back to is that, like, Edward Bloom as a character is the epitome of don't let the truth ruin a good story. Like, that is
Totally. And I think maybe I that is definitely an edict that I live by, probably because of this movie.
yeah, and I
Or the way I put it is like a good story deserves to be embellished.
exactly. It's like it's all of that, right? Where
Mhm.
all of these fantastical things, we have this, kind of unreliable narrator in Edward because
The
we're
most.
hearing his stories of his life and how these things happened
Mhm.
and whatever, and they are like so larger than life. Um
Mhm.
and yeah, like, yeah, a white dude in the 50s probably wasn't thinking about like intersectional like race theory, you know?
Right.
As a concept
Right.
or, like, thinking about,
Totally.
like, the moral ethics of dating or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Um,
Right, exactly. And that's part of the tall tale of the American
of
hero in a way,
course.
like he becomes this fairy tale version of the 1950s, 60s, 70s man, I
And
guess.
but
Um
also though, without it being gross and cringe somehow.
Which is crazy. I
Which is
mean, again, I
crazy.
think huge testament to Ewan McGregor
Yes.
because like he somehow is able to pull that off like perfectly.
Yeah.
There was something I wanted to talk about. My experience like watching this movie, I too probably like watched it in 2003 when it came out in the theaters. I can imagine. I remember seeing it pretty soon after it came out. I think that when I first watched it, I liked it a lot, but there was also something that I felt like was missing from it for me. Like at the time, I was like, I don't know what it
What
is. Like I
is it?
really like the sort of tale of Edward Bloom, and something is like missing for me. And watching it this time, I think what was missing was for me was actually not anything that wasn't in the movie. Because this time I really keyed into the adult
I
child trying to understand their parents way more, and I was like, whoa, I'm having a very different experience of this movie this time around because I'm really like identifying with Will a
a
lot of
lot.
like I want to understand you better. I want you to like tell me the things that the pieces that I'm asking you that are missing from my
Yeah.
understanding of who you are, because I want to get more of who you are. Like I'm your
And
child, you
it's
know. I was actually this time I was because like when I was younger, I was like, I want more of the fantasy. I want more of the
yeah.
fun, exciting Tim Burton-y stuff. And this time I was like, I want to see more of Will and his dad. Like I want more of those scenes in the
That
movie, weirdly enough. It's like it totally switched over. I was like, not like stop the fantasy stuff isn't fun, but I was like, but I want more of like Josephine and the dad talking and Jessica Lange and him
oh,
sort of like having cute old person moments. And oh my god, have you ever seen it? I never thought the sexiest thing I'd see watched on this podcast is two old people fully clothed getting in a bathtub together. I was
it's
like, damn.
straight up okay. So
Woo.
Jessica Lange,
Woo.
so Albert Finney plays Edward Bloom as an older man. Jessica fucking Lange plays Sandra Bloom, his wife. And I'm not kidding.
With heartbreaking precision.
Oh God. There that scene where Edward is like in the bath and he's holding his breath because he's always had this like I'm a fish and I da, 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 and all this stuff.
Right.
And you're seeing two people who have been together for 50 years,
Long
like a
time.
long time.
Ostensibly, since he stole her away from the other guy, he was 18 when he joined the circus. He said he spent 3 years. So yeah,
21?
they must have been
So yeah,
21.
like
Yeah.
50-ish years. And it is so fucking beautiful because
It's precious.
Jessica Lange like walks into the bathroom and she's like looking at the man she's loved her entire life who is dying, like who's in the process of dying from cancer, and without even
He's dying in the bathtub. Bum, bum,
bark,
bum,
bark, bark,
bum.
bark,
Okay, sorry.
and she just like with no hesitation is like fully clothed, but she just like gets in the bath with him and just like keeps kind of like joking with him and like and she says the line that like breaks my heart every time, which is I don't think I'll ever dry out, and she's like crying and I'm just like god damn it. Ah!
Gah.
it's it's
I went to go see they had a in the theaters this weekend. They put K-pop Demon Hunters in the theater as a sing-along version,
what
and Jay and I were like, we have to go see
in
this.
Sonoma County
At the Rialto, yeah.
at the fuck.
And it
Also,
was
hang on, real quick,
and it was awesome.
if you're a
Yes.
lover of movies in Sonoma County, patronize Rialto Cinemas in Sebastopol. They're fucking sick as shit. They're so awesome. It's also a queer-owned business. The gentleman.
Nice. I didn't know that.
I have met the two the couple, the two gentlemen that have owned the Rialto since it was on Summerfield, and then they moved it to the Barlow.
Sonoma County plugs.
Sonoma County, hyper specific content.
Yeah,
they're so sweet.
Yes, the cinema that used to be the Raven and is now the Rialto
It used to be
Sebastopol.
the Raven, now it's the Sebastopol. Whatever, it's like not a big deal. But anyway, they're so nice, but they genuinely like love movies and love cinema, and they are like the people you want run because they're running a business.
Besides,
they're doing all the things right. They have to show the big blockbuster movies and da da da. But they are also the theater that in town that shows the like Metropolitan Opera and does these like fun events. Like they're so wonderful.
I know. I need to go to one of those sometimes and like see a play broadcast live.
Next time I'm in County, we're
let's do it. Yeah, let's go see some. I also want to do that. Let's go see some Rosamund Pike. Let's go see some The Importance of Being Earnest, starring what's the actor's name who is the new Doctor Who and from Sex Education, the Nigerian gentleman. Chuti, yes.
Fuck, I can't remember his last name. Yes, amazing. Anyway,
that guy.
Oh my god, I want to see this man. Sorry, keep going.
I was very excited to besides showing Jay the Charles Schultz Museum, my second favorite my second most proud thing was he was just like, this theater is awesome. I'm like, yeah it's great.
Oh,
this is like a movie lovers movie theater.
It is a movie.
It's great.
It is a movie lovers movie theater because, like, yes, it's so amazing. And also, P.S. Don't fucking at me, Sonoma County. They have the best popcorn. They have the best popcorn of any movie theater.
They do.
In Sonoma County. It's fucking delicious. And if you...
The last guy that did it, the last guy that gave me my popcorn, he was like, I was like, yeah, a little butter. And he like put a little bit of butter on 3 different layers. And I was like, you're my fucking hero.
What?
Butter all the way down.
Look, dude,
yeah, I was like, oh my God, you did it. You did it right.
That is the quality you get at the Rialto Cinemas in Sebastopol, California.
That's right. Yeah.
Let me tell you, these motherfuckers.
I was like, I need to get this guy's name and write a review with him in it.
These motherfuckers know what the hell they are doing. They're okay. If you know Evan and I, you know that popcorn is a very integral portion of our experience of being humans. My buddy Dave is fond. He has coined a term that he will shout when we go to movies together because he's my movie buddy in Richmond. And he'll be like, PFD? And at first I was like, what? And he was like, popcorn for dinner.
PFD? I thought it was going to be like, I thought you said B, and I was like, is it like big popcorn energy or something? Like
PFD.
Popcorn for dinner?
Popcorn for dinner! Because also, wait, this is...
Dave's one of my favorite humans.
I just adore Dave, like, beyond reason and measure. Also, just...
PFD!
Okay, another fun side story. This is obviously going to get cut out of the pod, but I just want you to know this.
No, we're three tangents deep.
We're 3 tangents deep. We can't start.
I still have to explain why I was talking about K-pop Demon Hunters.
Okay, got it.
But let's keep going.
We're going to do this third tangent, and then we'll get back to the main thing. So, this was like 3 years ago when Dave and I first became friends, and we realized, like, oh, we both are, like, a particular version of nerd, where at this point in our lives, we've invested so much time and energy in the Marvel fucking universe that we have to...
I can't give up on it. Like, I'm telling you, those of us who started out with Star Wars are like, I'm fucking over it. I don't care how much time I've spent on it. I'll fucking drop this thing if it starts being stupid.
No. So like Davey Boy and I are on the train. We're like, we bought the ticket. We're taking the fucking ride. It's been 20 years.
Nice.
We're doing it. So we go.
So can't stop, won't stop.
Because his beautiful and wonderful and intellectually superior,
very smart
wife Sarah was like,
It's like, I'm not watching that shit.
literally, as soon as she realized, she was like,
way to go, Sarah.
Sarah's nailing it. Sarah immediately, this was like the second time we ever hung out, and she was like, Mare, you like Marvel movies? And I was like, fuck yeah, I like Marvel movies. And she was like, you and Dave go see Marvel movies together now. I'm not doing it anymore. I don't want to. And so Dave and I go and see Marvel movies all the time. But the very first time that we
Yeah.
went to the movies together, right? Which is always, I feel, a specific test of friendship, right? Because it's like, are you a talker? Are
Absolutely.
you
It's
gonna
like
be
a
on your
first date. I mean, almost all of my fucking first dates have been at a movie
Yeah, no,
theater.
exactly.
Like, honestly, like I'm like
It's
it's my instant gauge of like, can we do this? We don't actually have to like talk very much, but we can talk before and we
we
can
can
talk
talk before, we can
after and
talk
we can see what
after, and like,
happens, you know.
what's the vibe?
And it's a very even more particular thing when it's like I'm taking a new-ish friend or a person that I
See?
know to a movie. It's like friend date,
It's a
right?
friend
You're like,
date.
let's test the
And
waters
you have to
out.
kind of
Yeah.
test the waters of like, are you going to be really annoying? Are you whatever, right? Because I was like, I want to
You're gonna be checking your phone.
I want to keep seeing movies with this person. So I need to like level set at the beginning. And what I said was,
Right.
this is like, I had known Dave at this point for maybe a month, right?
Okay.
And we went to the movie and we were like, yes, we're going to go see a movie. We're going to go see this Marvel movie. We're like, got tickets, did the thing, we're in line to get popcorn.
As you do,
And
yeah.
I told him, and I was like, Dave, I want to continue being your friend. So I need you to know something. I don't share popcorn.
You're like, this is mine.
No.
Yes, it's a large.
Oh.
Yes, it's a bucket. It's mine.
No, literally. And I was just like, Dave,
that's great.
I was like, I want to be crystal clear in this so that it does not negatively impact our friendship later. So I'm just going to spell it out. Popcorn is my favorite food. I have been excited about this popcorn all day. I don't share popcorn.
I was going to a movie and I was like, yay, popcorn is going to happen.
Yes. And I was just like, and it was kind of something that I feel like at the time he was a little like taken aback, and I was like, whoa, that was really fucking intense. But now, when we go to movies together, he fucking knows, because usually he will get drinks and I will get the snacks, and I will always ask, like, do you want popcorn? Meaning,
right.
What size
so
of
I can
popcorn?
Get a medium or small.
What size of popcorn do you want? Because I am getting the largest available option. And I'm not.
I'm getting the hog trough of popcorn, and you can get whatever you want.
Get whatever you want. No, and like this was like maybe like a year ago.
We're talking about big fish, right?
Okay, wait. I'm just gonna end this and then we'll move on.
Man. No. I love it. I'm loving it. This is the best episode ever.
It is the best episode, 10 out of 10. So this was like maybe a year ago.
Please like and subscribe. Rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
It's very important. We'd really love it. We'd really like doing
subscribe so we can blow our viewership.
So so this was like after we've been friends for like a couple years. We've been going to movies together a lot. And I always get like the hog trough of popcorn, right? And it is gone, right? End of the movie, it's gone. Like, it is gone.
You're like, I'm sure Dave is like, there's no way they can finish all that popcorn themselves. And then you're like, I wish there was a bigger size.
Seriously? Like, yeah, like a year ago, Dave was like, man, you know, the first time we went to go to movies and you were like, I don't share popcorn, and like you got the biggest size, I really thought that was like talking some big game and you were like kind of crazy, but it's real. Like, you were really gonna eat.
That was insane.
You were really gonna eat all of that popcorn. I was like, "Yeah, Dave,
Yeah.
I'm an honest person. I'm honest
Yeah.
about who I
I
am
tell people
up front.
what it's like.
Up front, I give you what you need to know.
It'll be fine.
Talk to me about
Um,
K-pop demon
Hunters.
hunters."
Have you seen it
No, I
yet?
haven't.
Honestly, I would recommend it. I mean, like, it's go in expecting it to be stupid, and you'll be like, "Wow, what a great movie."
Oh, what's
Um,
that? I'm showing my phone so that you can also see my awesome fucking shark phone case.
K-pop Shark Hunters. Um,
Oh, okay.
K-pop Demon Hunters, the sing-along thing was obviously populated by a lot of children aged 9 to say
Oh, was it
14,
sick as
and
shit?
Jay
Was it sick as
it
shit?
was it gave me hope for the next generation. I was like, these kids are gonna be okay. They're gonna be all right.
Hell yeah,
Um,
brother.
learn about learn about shame and overcoming your guilt and demons and stuff. Um, the reason I brought it up was
The reason you
because
brought it up
there is
25 minutes ago was because
yeah, basically there is a they do when the girls see the K-pop boy band show up, who are, you know, K-pop demons posing as a boy band, they uh they have one of them sees they're they see the guy's abs, and then
yes.
in pure kind of like cartoon anime style, her eyes turn into abs as if she's looking at them. And then there are more abs revealed on the guy's shirt, and then the abs in her eyes turn into pieces of corn because there's multiple little like ab looking things on corn. And then
Yes!
the buttons on his shirt pop off, and then popcorn starts flying out of her eyes, and it's like the best thing
What?
ever.
Fuck yes!
It's so awesome.
Okay,
Yeah, it's so cool.
obviously, I'm gonna watch this movie when I'm answering emails tomorrow. Obviously.
You will
When I'm,
stop
like,
answering
at work.
emails. You will stop answering emails for an hour and a half because you will be so taken in and charmed by this movie. Okay, but but the thing I was going to talk about wasn't even the
Great!
abcorn popcorn thing.
Great!
It was like the other girl just like starts crying rivers of water because of how attractive the guys are and like how much sexiness she is witnessing.
Sure.
And I was just gonna say that's how I felt watching the Albert Finney Jessica Lange bathtub scene. I was like, ah, so cute and sexy. Ah, river is coming down my face. Ah.
I love that we took I'm not shitting you, a 25-minute detour.
Thanks, Big Fish and K-pop Demon Hunters and Rialto Cinemas and
Thanks,
Dave and Marvel
David
for that
Marvel. And
great
popcorn.
detail.
And
And
popcorn.
popcorn and
I
popcorn. Ah,
it
cheers. Jinx. Oh, you a Coke.
Jinx. I would just like to say that if anybody is wondering why Evan and I mostly hang out solo when we're together, get
Nobody else
this.
needs to be part of this. Yeah.
We subject
Nobody else needs to be subjected to
Yeah, I was
this.
gonna say,
Yeah.
we subject Dave to, like, I would say, like, 5 to 8% of this in our writers group that we have together, and even that, I feel like
Yes.
he's like, "Fucking get to the point, stay on task," and I'm like, "This isn't even that bad, my man. It's not even that
We're
bad."
doing great. Are you
I know,
kidding?
I'm like,
I'm as close to on task as I could possibly be.
"Yes,
Wait, I
what are
have
you
something
doing?
that I got you.
You got me something. Oh, I love presents." I'm such a bad sibling. I'm so bad at giving you presents. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry. I don't care.
I know you don't give a
like...
shit, which is what makes me feel better, but I'm always like, man, I love Evan so much. I should get him cool things. Because you always give me amazing gifts,
You'll...
like this beautiful insulated mug from the Atlanta Botanical Gardens, not the Atlantic Botanical Gardens.
The Atlantic Botanical
It's a
Gardens.
kelp forest.
Where the fuck did it go? God
This is
damn
really
it.
fascinating audio for everybody. I'm so excited for
I can't
I am
wait for
so
people to
excited
hear. This is great.
for you to edit this podcast because
And then Evan took 5 minutes to find a thing in his
all right. So if
room.
you're just listening to the audio and you're not watching on YouTube at Brother Sibling Movie on YouTube, it's just Evan is just wandering a room right now. Took his headphones off and is just sort of wandering. No audio, nothing. Just a man on a mission. Evan, what did you find?
I got us matching stickers at a local shop in Guerneville. They're like little Gemini stickers, and I was like, "These look so cool! Oh my god!" So yeah,
all right, you know what?
you'll get one of those sometime.
Those are gonna go. Those are gonna go on my wall of awesomeness behind my desk, where
Oh, sweet.
it's where I put the stickers that I love so much, and like the things I love
Mm-hmm.
so much that I can't commit to sticking them on anything. So that I just get to wear
Like,
them.
I will never take these off of the
I just want
of the
them to
sticky
enjoy.
back.
And I'll just remind listeners, I think I've read this card to people, but it's one I look at every single day while I'm working because it's right on the wall behind my computer where I'm sitting right now. And it's a birthday card from Evan. And it says, "Sup, bitch. Hope you like your present, ho. Welcome to 34, cunt maggot. Love you, dickhead. Heart, E." And I look at it every day because I think it's the best birthday card I've ever received in my entire life. It's the best one.
I always forget about what's in that card until you start describing it. I'm like, oh right. I was probably a little drunk when I wrote that, but it worked. It
I
was
think
good.
you were very drunk when you wrote it. But anyway, but I should say that like the reason it is up on my wall is because to me, I'm like, oh, Evan really does love me.
Obviously.
But it's great. Oh fucking Christ. Okay, hold on. We are so intensely off the rails on this thing. We gotta
I love it.
I love
This is
it.
great.
Hold on. I think we should just switch.
I think we covered almost everything we need to about the fucking movie that we,
I know.
that's great and we loved. So I'm sure there's a little bit more
I
to
think
talk
there's
about, but
more
I think we're on
probably.
track.
I am like, I think maybe we need to start doing our podcasts on a weekday evening because this is a like real unsettling frenetic energy that I am digging.
Right.
I am
Cool.
digging.
I mean, hey, I mean, I don't know if you can catch it, I think you just have to experience it and let it
It's
let
what
it
it
take you
is,
for the ride,
baby. It just is what
you
it
know.
is.
Next weekday night we try to record, we'll both have like had a shitty day
I
and be
know.
angry and pissed off and
Yeah.
it's like who knows what'll
Who
happen.
knows? Life's a bag of
When
mystery.
lightning strikes, you got to you can't try to catch it in a bottle. You just got to let it
Move through your
flitter away
body
like
and
the way that lightning does. Yeah.
move through your body and destroy your electrical system and your heart. Is that a thing that happens?
Yeah, unless you're grounded. You got to ground yourself.
So
That's
like
how you stay.
Zen monks are impervious to lightning electrocution.
No, literally grounding your body by putting your feet on grass.
Shut up! Laugh at my funny joke. This is why our mom doesn't like talking to us.
I know. Anytime we've started talking for longer than 5 minutes, she's like, Jesus Christ. Well, I think we've
What are
had
we
a lot
talking
of.
about, dude?
I
Big
think
Fish.
yes, I think we had a lot of great things to say about Big Fish.
Did we?
Sure, yeah, it's like a great movie about parents and kids trying to understand them and learning about their mythology and trying to be understanding of the way that they are in the present and facts and fiction and everything else in the middle. And yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
You are nailing this, man. You're nailing this. You've had 2 beers and I've had an entire bottle of wine, and one of us is a little bit more salient. I'm just saying.
One rosé inspired cider and one Italian style pilsner, I will have you
Oh, the
know.
Suffusio is so good. God.
It is
I love Fort Brewing so much. They're so good.
almost as good as Big Fish, a great movie that we both liked.
Almost as good
Segue.
as this popping on it. Moving to the next thing on a segue.
On the segue, baby.
Are we just gonna do final thoughts and takeaways? Because, like, let's do it.
Let's
Do you want to
I
do
think that
ad break? I
let's do a
feel
little
like
ad break.
I think that in the last hour and a half of recording,
Mm-hmm.
we spent approximately 30 of those minutes talking about Big Fish.
I think there's a very salient Big Fish episode in here. We took the discussion seriously for about
Look,
half an
dude.
hour, and like that's good. That's a great amount.
Look, dude. You're the editor.
Yeah, and we're about at an hour and a half of recording material, which is great.
So,
And
like,
honestly, that
we
almost
might
means I
end
can
up
just leave it alone, you know?
we almost might be at just like a standard app. Like, might be
Yeah,
good.
exactly. You're getting it. You
I'm
understand.
I'm getting it. I feel like this could be released unedited and there would be nothing problematic or harmful in there. They said with humor as a joke.
As a joke. Let's take a quick commercial break. Hear about a word from our sponsors, and we will be right back with more Brother Sibling Movie.
We all know how getting out of bed in the morning can be a struggle. The worst part? Putting on shoes. Picking the right color socks. Opening the
Preach.
lip of your favorite sneakers. Lacing up.
Yes.
It doesn't just slow you down, it drags you down.
Like a deep depression.
Like a deep depression, but for your feet. That's where Shocks comes in. Shocks. It's shoes and socks all in one. The very first pull-on shoe with socks already installed. Evan, can you believe it? Say goodbye to cumbersome morning routines. Grab your Shocks and you're ready to head out the door.
Mare, pull on shoes, socks installed. How do they feel on your feet?
Oh, they tear your feet up. They are truly terrible for walking in. They offer
God.
no protection from the cold, hard concrete, whatsoever. But you know what, Evan? That's okay because they come in 12 different colors. They're so fashionable.
I suppose looking great and getting out the door quickly is worth some mild bone trauma.
Yes, you bet it is. Try Shocks today. Shocks. That's shoes and socks in a one.
Whoa.
Because you know what? You're
What?
working too hard at working too hard. Vibe into it with Shocks.
I'm shocked at the great message I just received and the
and let me
beauty
tell
of the
you,
future that this has in stores for me.
as a person who has used shocks and enjoys them day to day, I have not seen the metatarsal bones on my feet before, and now I have, and that is a gift that Shocks gave me. So thank you, Shocks. Thank you.
How exactly are shocks different than like slippers?
Because they go from work at home to working on the streets in no time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is just a like, do you want an uncomfortable, scratchy mess on your feet while you're on Zoom calls? Yes,
Yeah, I
obviously.
do. I do.
You
I want
know
to
that
stay
I
awake.
do.
Honestly, I
I
would
do.
love it if these like took their name a little bit more literally and like actually shocked you to keep you awake a little bit.
I think there is an upgrade here, Shocks, if you're listening. Product upgrade idea. But also, then if I'm like, oh my God, I have ADHD time blindness and I'm running 40 minutes late because I thought a task would take 5 minutes and it took an hour.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, baby girl, I don't even have to worry about the shoes situation. I don't have to worry about them matching to my outfit because guess what? Blood goes with every color.
Every pair is
Right.
red.
Every pair is red with my platelets.
Oh,
And they're
man.
great. I love them.
Thank you,
10 out of
Shocks.
10. Shocks, thank you for sponsoring this episode. You're doing a great job. We love
We
your
appreciate you.
product.
Yeah.
We love your
Let's all get some
product.
shocks today. And we're back with more brother sibling movie. We said
Way
the
to go
things.
pretending to be a normal person. Love that for you.
It's time to come back from the ad break, and we are the Evan and the Mayor, and we are podcast. Thank you.
Somebody has a soundboard still. I don't use it often, but it's really great.
I'm glad it's not used all the time because you have shown remarkable restraint with your power. Much like Edward Bloom? Wait, I can't hear you. What happened?
Oh, you know what I did?
Did you accidentally hit your mute button on the soundboard?
I was so excited about my soundboard buttons that I hit my mic.
You're like, mute.
Mute myself. I would like everyone to know that for every single episode of this podcast, I have had access to a truly deranged soundboard. And I choose not to use it because I am a mature adult.
You know what?
Ooh, that one lingers. That one lingers.
With the exception of the last few moments, Jesus appreciates your restraint.
Jesus and I are homies. We're good. We're chill.
Yeah.
We're chill. We're good with each other. All right. Do you want
to read some final thoughts and takeaways, some prepared paragraphs about our thoughts on the movie?
I do. I would love to.
Let's do it. Let's hit it.
I'm going to preface this by saying I feel like my thoughts and takeaways, I have a more intense and like an essay's worth of discussion. And I was trying to access my emotions and write this. And so it is a bit half-baked, but I stand by what I say because I'm a man of principle.
I completely agree.
Here are my thoughts and takeaways on the Tim Burton film Big Fish. Compiling my thoughts and takeaways for Big Fish has been strangely challenging. I've kept starting and stopping, unsure how to string together the disparate snippets and themes that make up a mishmash of why I love this film. Do I want to talk about how this folksy Americana yarn fills my soul with joy? Should I talk about the incredible casting, awesome sets, and fantastic costumes? What about the legacy of films in this genre of wild and strange surreality? All of those aspects deserve consideration, surely. They are very important. But none of those stopped me in my tracks upon this rewatch. What made my heart skip a beat and my eyes threaten to overflow was the specific frustration and pain of having a father who you don't really understand. Edward Bloom as a character is the very epitome and pinnacle of charm and kindness, the quintessentially perfect aw shucks type of man so many strive to be and so few are. His stories are larger than life, grand tales of adventure, true love, and magical happenstance that he weaves for the delight and admittedly exasperation of his loved ones. It seems only fitting that his most constant critic is his son, a no nonsense journalist who has heard enough fantasies to last a lifetime. William wants facts. He wants to know who his dad actually is. Not the stories, not the lies, just the truth. William's struggle to accept his father's version of events makes complete sense. Sure, crazy stories are great at bedtime when you're a kid, but at some point you need to grow up. But do you? And really, is it so bad to let a good story take precedence over the truth? Watching Big Fish for the first time in about probably 10 years, the overwhelming message I got was that we may never really understand our parents, but we can make peace with the people that they are and appreciate the legacy that they leave behind.
So those are your half-baked thoughts?
Yeah, that's my half-baked thoughts.
Okay, well, I'd consider them pretty baked. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
yeah,
Those are
it's a
my
fast.
mostly baked thoughts. But that idea of like the reconciliation between who your parent actually is and who they have purported themselves to be,
Mhm.
that I feel like is the main thrust of this story because ultimately the truth is in the middle. It's
Yeah,
not
and I
it's
think it's
not in
even
the
more.
fantastical, it's not in the facts. It is in that middle piece and like
Mhm.
something that I something that I talk a lot about with Dave actually is that you know, you're a parent, I am not, but your kids are gonna know one version of you from the time that you had them
Mhm.
through their life. But you have had a wealth of experiences prior to your children being presences in your life and like
Yeah. Mhm.
how how you choose to tell that story to your children is important.
Mhm.
And I think this is a really good example of those like how you can blend fact and fiction and ultimately like create something that is greater than the sum of its parts
Hmm.
and is true. It's still true in a
Yeah.
way, but you are creating as a gift, you as a parent as a gift are gifting your children all of these stories, and I think that is as beautiful as it is damaging.
Right. Yeah.
It's like a both
Well,
and kind of thing.
yeah. Well, that's the thing about life, right? Like, I think that life is damaging, but
Mhm.
in that damaging of yourself comes the lessons and comes the beauty of being
Yeah,
alive. You don't
absolutely.
you don't get to have one without the other, you know?
Absolutely.
You don't get to have gratitude and appreciation for things without um being grateful and appreciating the kind of bad things that happen to you too, you know? Like, it
Yeah.
all is part of making a life. It's all part of you becoming who you are. And a big part of that is your parents. A big part of that is the people
A
who
big
raise
part of that is
you.
your parents, yeah, and I think the beauty of this film also is that kind of the end culmination
Yeah, I was gonna talk
feels
about the end a little bit too, because I was like,
yeah. We have this beautiful right, like, we have this whole story of Edward Bloom's life and, when he was a kid, he saw his death in the witch's eye, but he never said what it was,
mhm.
and it's an incredibly sweet moment that I think stops me in my tracks
Yeah, I was
the
taken
older
aback by
I
it
am
too. Mhm. Yeah. I
of
was like, "Oh, damn." Ugh.
yeah, that
Just
that
that last 20 minutes. The one of the LetterBoxd reviews that I didn't mention was somebody saying, like, uh, "The movie doesn't hold up, but that last 20 minutes still slaps." It still
it's
hits you
kind of
hard.
real because
Mhm.
that is the culmination of the film is basically Edward is dying and William is the only person in the room with him, and Willie and Edward asks William,
Like,
"How
how
does
does
it
it end?
happen? How does
Mhm.
it end? Like, how does my story end?" And
Yeah,
then
how do I die?
William,
What did I see in the witch's eye? He
"What
never
did I?"
actually.
Because he never told William, and it's this incredibly heart-wrenching and beautiful moment of, like, passing the story on to the
Yeah,
next
because
generation.
he finally lets his son tell the story.
Yeah, he lets William be part of the narrative. He lets
Mhm.
William be like, "We bust out of this hospital and, like, I see mom and I see Josephine, and then we tell them, 'No time to explain,' like, 'Run out of there,' and all of the things, and, like, everybody is there, and you get the because I mean, I'm like, it ultimately, that is a portion, I would assume, of being a parent, right? Of you're like, I'm passing this to you as the next generation that's gonna hold these stories and hold these memories. And
Yeah.
you get to decide what that is. And the the beauty of it, and also like we haven't talked about Billy Crudup, who is
Oh,
genuinely one of my favorite actors of all
I
time.
know,
I
yeah,
la
we
la
didn't talk about him
la
at
love
all.
him.
He's so good,
Also,
yeah.
Marion Cotillard is in this film as well. Like, we didn't talk about her at all. Also amazing.
Yep,
Um,
she's a great French photojournalist, the best.
just the best.
Helena Bonham
But
Carter, Danny DeVito was the werewolf.
there's just the
Yeah,
cast is so good. We all know the cast is good. But that, like, the end of this film really is about, it feels at least that part of the end message is passing on a legacy and
yeah,
in and finally inviting someone who kind of felt like othered and outside of all of these stories because he wasn't a part of them.
mhm.
Ooh, knock something off a cabinet. He felt very like that was kind of always William's thing of like there's all of these stories and like you're
Yeah,
not
well, it's
part
always
of them.
his
You're not
dad's
here.
story, you know?
It's
He's
his
like,
dad's story. His dad's the main
why
character.
why does dad always wanna be, front and
Yeah, he
center in
wants
everything?
to be center stage. But that like in Edward's passing, he basically is like, you're the main character now. You tell the story. You
Yeah,
be you be the author of my next chapter of like
and I think
how
it's
I how
also
I pass into the next world.
yeah, and I think it's also, like, being a person I think it's also, like, about how you become part of like, how desperately you want that type of parent wants to
Absolutely.
keep wonder alive for their kid, even when their kid
Yeah.
is a grown ass adult and asking all the questions. And part of it is stubbornness, right? Part of it is like stubbornly
Yeah.
being like, no, this is like the way that the story goes, and I'm not fucking breaking from that. But part of it too is like Edward Bloom wanting to instill in his son a sense of wonder and to finally let Will take the reins and tell the
Yeah.
fantastic story and get to the point where he recognizes it's not real, but it's more than real. It's the story that we tell about ourselves to give meaning to our life that in so many ways can seem meaningless or seem stupid or whatever, you know?
Yeah, but and that's so and we get these moments in the film too of right like you hear Edward telling these stories and these wild fables, but then as Will is going through like his dad's old stuff and sheds and his mom is like, "Oh my god, that time that like the armed services like said your dad was dead and I was devastated because
Mhm.
like that was real."
Right.
And I and even Edward at early in the film says some version of like I've never lied to you. I've
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
lied to you.
Yeah.
And I think there can be a cognitive dissonance with that, right? Where if you're
Mhm.
because you want to know who your parents are as humans, right? Like as
Yeah.
people, and you're like, I want to know
Mhm.
the story of your life. I want to know what happened. I want to know all the like good things and the bad things and the scary things
Mhm.
and the exciting things and all of that. And this really is just a like it is that like idea of these things are all true
Yeah.
and maybe the even if this even if your dad wasn't able to like be there all the time or be with you, the thing that he could give you was this incredible mythology
Mhm.
of himself and imbue kind of those like mundane everyday things with this magical otherness. Because I'm like, if you take Edward Bloom, he was a traveling salesman from Ashton, Alabama, who was away from home a lot, and he had a wife and a kid, and that was his life.
Yeah.
And yet, that's like the facts, right? And there's even that
Mhm.
scene of where
And
the
that's what
doctor
fairy
that
tales do, right? They
but that's what
mythologize and
fairy tales do.
they make everyday occurrences seem bigger and more intense the way that a child experiences the world. You know, because
Yeah,
every normal thing to a kid is a huge deal and of massive interest
because
and the
you're
biggest thing
new.
that's ever happened to them in their
You're
life. And
yeah, because
Edward
you're
Bloom is
new.
able to kind of like make that his life experience, make that his story, you know. He leads a fairly normal ass life, but finds a way to make himself, as they say in the movie, to make himself immortal by the story that he tells about himself. And not just
Absolutely.
that, but to make him, you know, magical to his family in a way.
100%. And I think that, again, in that way of where it's like, if this was your parent, I can understand the annoyance, the frustration, the anger, the resentment.
Right.
Yes, I get all of that because that is very, very real. And the scene very early in the movie where Edward is telling the story of like catching the fish and like,
Oh yeah.
you know, I people have tried all these $100 lures and da da da. And what I realized is like I used my wedding ring, and it becomes, but it's like, yes, that is a self-serving story. And like, yes, you are the hero and da da da. But the point of that story is that sometimes the only way to catch an uncatchable woman is by offering her a wedding ring. And it
Mhm.
and it like becomes this very sweet moment for that couple or whatever. And it's like, and I'm not saying I don't see the problematic whatever da 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 da.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like
It's
a
all there.
normal I'm like a normal person. I'm like a millennial who was raised by boomers. I fucking see it all, okay? So shut
Right.
up. And
We
yet
get it.
we get uh, uh-huh. And there is still within that an amount of how do you make the everyday, mundane, normal, crazy, traumatic, horrible, joyous, all of the things. How do you make that experience exciting? How do you make
Mhm.
it how do you make it more than the sum of its parts? And the way that you
Yeah.
do that is
That's the
by telling
flavor
a
of life,
story.
right?
That's the
That's
flavor of life. You tell
you
a
got to try to
story.
make it interesting. You got to try to let it not just be depressing. You got to
Yeah, and
try to let it be more than what it is in some ways.
I think that the other thing that I kept coming back to that I didn't get to my thoughts and takeaways because they're a bit par baked was that, and this is why I really want to read the novel now. I want to read
Mhm.
this book that Daniel Wallace wrote. Is that this is the kind of story that reinvigorates and re-excites me to why we as humans tell stories.
Mhm.
Like why storytelling is important and why folklore is important and why fairy tales are important and why these tropes keep coming back because they speak to something greater. And that's the piece that I think about Big Fish and about this film. All of the things that come together is like at the heart of it, it really is like I said, our parents aren't perfect people, but like we get to make peace with the people that they are and like accept their legacy and pass it on as we
Yeah.
see fit. And that is a really tremendous gift to be able to do that. And
Yeah.
I love the
I
whole thing.
agree. And I would say
Let's do
kudos
your thoughts and
to
takeaways.
sure. And yeah, I would say kudos to both Tim Burton and John August for really using their thought and skill and heart in creating a cathartic experience of one person's personal mythology and how that kind of mythologizing, because mythology is very much like about humanity's inner psychology and the things that we hold important. And I think that the images in this movie are so striking, and
Yeah.
the whole movie, and particularly the end, captures this kind of beautiful dream logic of sort of everything kind of happening as you think it ought to, or things not making logical sense, but things making dream sense or emotional
Yeah.
sense, all kind of coming to the forefront and not being linear necessarily. Um, it's an interesting storytelling experiment to pull off, to find the way to weave in the mythologizing of one person's story about themselves with somebody trying to reconcile it, and then also coming to recognize that the ability to tell a story and become a part of it, and to lock into, and to like let go of the hard and cold facts,
Mm-hmm.
and become part of the dream logic of what storytelling is and can be. It unlocks a kind of understanding of your human psychology and like what makes you
Mm-hmm.
tick. There was a point when I was watching this movie where I was like trying to kind of like decipher and decode like the images, and by
Yeah.
the end I was just feeling it, which is great. Like that means that the
That's
filmmakers
art,
did the
right? Like
magic
that's what.
making right. I was like, oh, they did it. Like they fucking. I was attempting to do my film studies analytical thing, and then I was taken on the ride. So
Yeah,
kudos
and
to you
I
guys.
think my favorite one of my favorite interactions at the end of the film is it's when Edward is in the hospital and his doctor, who's been his doctor for years, da da da, whatever. And he delivered William, and William is there in the hospital, and the doctor, and Edward has always had this fantastical. This is the story of the day my son was born. And it's
Hmm.
about, I was going to catch this fish and I caught the uncatchable fish and with my wedding ring and all this stuff. And the doctor is like, well, Will, your mom went into labor. Um, your dad was on the road.
Right, you were a
It
week
wasn't,
early. Yeah.
you were a week early. It was a little unexpected. It was a easy birth. Your
Hmm.
dad came back into town and, you know, that was
That was
that
that. Yeah.
like those are the facts of your birth. But if I had a choice, I'd take the story.
Right.
Like I'd take the story instead. Like I can give you the facts, and I think that is the epitome of it, right? Of like we all have the truth of ourselves, we have the truth of our experience, and the like here are the like A to B to C of what happened.
Hmm.
But what makes life interesting and what makes stories worth telling is the like A to M to D to Q to
Yeah.
D. That's what makes life interesting. And I think that is sort of ultimately in this story what what he was trying to impart to his son is.
Yeah.
It's a
It's about the fun,
the
messy
fact
stuff.
Yeah, the facts are the facts, but it is about the fun messy stuff. It's about the fun messy stuff. And I would say put that on a t-shirt. Slap that on a t-shirt. What was my
Slap it on a
catchphrase?
t-shirt. I don't
Slap it on
remember.
a t-shirt. I don't fucking remember
We'll
what it was.
call it that.
Do
All
you want to
right.
read your thoughts and takeaways? Because I
Let's
feel
do
like
my
you're
thoughts and takeaways.
ready, steady, go.
I'm ready, steady. Um, I saw Big Fish when it first came out and always connected with it, but I think I always felt like something was missing. This rewatch revealed to me what that was. I needed to have an adult relationship with my parents to truly understand what this movie was about. In 2003, I think I wanted more of the fairy tale fantasy parts of the movie to exist. Now that I'm older, I crave more of the scenes with the adults hammering things out with each other in the present. Sometimes adult children just want the truth. And sometimes our parents want to give us something that keeps us believing in magic. There is something inherently charming and narcissistic about Edward Bloom. And in almost any other movie, he's the guy you'd want to punch in the face. But as played by both Ewan McGregor and Albert Finney, you can't help but be charmed by this guy. As written by John August and directed by Tim Burton and based on a book by Daniel Wallace, this movie offers a deft combination of fairy tale and real world happenstance. Each world informs the other, and William Bloom's interpretations of his father's stories and his own understanding of his father grow as the legend of Edward Bloom does in the audience's mind. Fairy tales are meant to give us context for the world we are experiencing as children, but we are also meant to grow out of them, to start seeing the world for what it really is: hard facts, tough truths, and the triumphs and failures of everyday life. Big Fish pulls off the trick of letting us exist in the fantasy of one man's tall tales, while also slowly unraveling the need of one's hope for a dose of reality and comfort. Both realities can exist. Both do in our everyday lives. And also, I never thought I'd see as sexy a scene as two fully clothed old fogies sauntering up to each other in a bathtub. Kudos to the both of you, Jessica Lange and Albert Finney.
Genuinely, yes.
Steamy.
Yeah. I think that is the part, right? Like, fairy tales give us context for the world, and in a way we're meant to grow out of them, but they still inform the way that we see things.
Yeah, because it's the inner world that they are explaining, and
Yeah.
as children we are closer to the inner world of the imagination and the inner experience because we're imagining
Yeah.
what we're going through. And as adults, we're asked to think about what other people are doing, and we're asked to think about our community, and we're asked to think about the world at large, which are all good things that we should get into. But ultimately, the most human experience is the internal
Mhm.
experience and like what we get out of our emotional roller coaster ride of life, and
Yeah.
and the exciting part of it is like what we imagine those things can be. And no matter how grandiose, like those grandiose imaginations that are interpretations of everyday life are the things that we are um that we're experiencing in a way, like we're
Yeah.
experiencing the real world, but what we're experiencing in here is the heroic journey of going through our lives on an individual basis.
Well,
So
and I think there's also an amount of, I think in Edward Bloom's story, there's also an amount of like inviting the person hearing the story. Yes, you're hearing Edward Bloom as the hero of this tale, and right, like
Monsieur Blue.
he's the main character. But in a way, and I think kind of what ultimately the film kind of ends with is we're all in charge of our own narrative, and we're all in charge of how we present that. And if you want it to be fantastical, it can be fantastical. If you want it to be purely factual, it can be purely factual.
Mm-hmm.
But you get to make that decision of how your story is told. And you get to make that decision of owning your own narrative of what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a powerful thing in a person's life to be
It's
like, hey,
it's
I've
it's
experienced a
powerful.
lot of stuff that I'm not happy about, but I don't have to let those things define me. I
Yeah,
can
I
be the
get
hero in
to
my own story. And how
exactly.
to
And I
do
think
that
that's
without
really
having
cool.
main character energy is a tough one, but that's for another
But
podcast.
that's another podcast. But yeah, no, man oh man. Just truly, I think what you said about like what I was missing from this film when I first watched it was being older
Yeah,
is
the context of
very
what it's like to
real,
be an adult child of your parents. It's like, oh yeah, like this
very
is
different. It's
yeah, it's
very
a different
different.
experience watching this. There's so much more context in the to me now in the relationship that Will
Yeah.
has with his dad and that
Mhm.
everybody has with him in the present moment. It's very like I I see more of it now than I did then.
Yeah, when you're 13 and your parents are in their our parents were a little older. They were in their what, late 40s or early 50s versus like being in your mid to late 30s and having parents in their like early to mid 70s. Different. Very different. It's a very
Quite.
different vibe. It's a different vibe. And
Vibes.
speaking of vibes,
What about vibes?
vibe check. It's time for a vibe check. If
Vibe check.
you if you're a
Sorry.
first time listener and you happen to be watching the YouTube video Brother Sibling Movie on youtube.com, Evan just did a scissor motion with his fingers, which I'm now doing, but that's what Evan was doing. So if
To
you're
be
wondering,
clear, I made a V and a V for vibe checks, and then I
and
couldn't
then
help
you,
myself because I am an immature 8th grader, and I made my two V's scissor each other. So
yeah.
I'm so
So if
sorry,
you're wondering if
YouTube.
Evan's a piece of homophobic shit, you're correct. Um,
How can it be homophobic to enjoy watching two women scissor each
no,
other?
bad.
That is the opposite of homophobic, if you ask
Uncool.
me.
Uncool. Anyways,
How can
if
it be
you're
racist if I like their race?
oh
Jerry
my fucking god.
Seinfeldism.
Oh my fucking god, I can't. You have to cut all of this out because somehow our
I'm just quoting
72-year-old
other
mother is gonna
people.
cancel us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Canceled. Canceled like a highlight
Hi.
subscription.
Dip it.
Vibe check.
Vibe check. Welcome to Vibe Check. If you are listening, oh my god, every time. If you're listening to our podcast for the first time, first of all, thank you. Welcome. And like seriously, you slogged through like a lot of Kurna kid bullshit. So Evan and I don't rate things on a star system or a number system. We rate films on two things and two things only, and that is how was the story and how were the vibes. Evan, Big Fish, how was the story? How were the vibes?
Super 100% double fine great story. Ditto on the vibes.
Oh, a ditto on the vibes.
A ditto on the
Double fine.
vibes.
A ditto.
Love
Okay.
this story. Love this vibe. That was nastier than what I did.
It's not homophobic if I do it.
Double standard.
I'm using my queer power.
You're like a vegan in the Scott Pilgrim universe. You're like, I've got
I
vegan
am.
powers.
I kind of do. I have I'm
Queer
supercharged with
superpowers.
I'm supercharged with like the powers of lesbianism and queerness. Just it puts me on a I exist on a different level than you do. Yeah. Okay, story amazing. I would also give it like I think I would give extra kudos for the fucking time release awesomeness of the story where like watching it at one age you have one experience and watching it older you're like, "Oh fuck, my parents are going to die." I think that
Yeah.
is like but also being equally impactful and awesome at both of those stages, but those stages are very, very different.
Yeah.
Like, super kudos story-wise. Vibes, top tier vibes. Amazing. Awesome. Love it.
Hell
Love
yeah.
all of
Hell
the
yeah.
vibes. I love all of the vibe. Uh, uh, vibes, 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 vibes.
It's my vibe punching bag. I'm punching the
Oh,
camera for those of you listening.
for those of you listening and watching at Brothers of
Brah, 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 brah.
For those of you watching on YouTube.
How many ska kids does it take to pick up a
At
light
Brothers Sibling
bulb?
Movie at YouTube.com or whatever. What is it? At Brothers Sibling Movie on YouTube.com. Sorry, keep going. How many ska kids does it take to
Put
skank
in a
your
light
way
bulb.
into being normal? How many
4.
ska kids? Brah,
4.
brah, brah, brah.
No.
What?
Yes, I said those words
Sorry.
earlier.
Do you wanna take it clean? Tell me your joke, Evan.
How many ska kids does it take to put in a light bulb?
How many?
4. 1 to drop it, and 3 to pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Fuck, that was worth it. Fuck me, that was
I
worth
told you.
God damn it,
Excellent.
that was worth it. That was excellent and worth it.
Um, this has been a great
Alright.
episode. I'm so happy we talked about Big Fish. It's a very meaningful movie to me. So let's do it again sometime.
I love that we had an hour and a half of insane frenetic energy. We're ending with an insane, like 10, 15 minutes of insane frenetic energy, and then there was like 20 minutes that we were like very sincerely talking about the film. I think
Yeah, it deserves it. It deserves the time.
I think it deserves you know what? I think it deserves both the absurdity and the like genuine reflection on like a adult child in relation to their dying parent and relationship stuff. It's both of those things. And guess what? We contain multitudes, fuckers.
Indeed.
Um
I am a
so
multitude.
I'm multi something. Hyphenate?
Hyphenate? Yeah.
Am I a
Disciplinary?
multi personalities? Who knows? No one knows. Gotta get my therapist.
You're like
So,
Split, James McAvoy.
man, we're gonna have to do. I want to do a like trash goblin season where
What would the Trash Goblin season be?
it's just like Taken and what's the one where James McAvoy bends the bullets and it's so dumb and so enjoyable.
Oh, that movie's dope.
That movie's dumb as fuck.
It's called oh my god, what is it called?
I know. I'm drawing a complete. Oh my god.
Bent, Split. No, that's his multiple personality one. Oh my god, Angelina Jolie, James McAvoy. Angelina Jolie.
I'm moving over because I also don't have a full computer set up right now. I'm sorry, I'm doing this thing.
Wanted. Yeah.
It's just like I just want to watch like Taken, Wanted, The Transporter, the first Fast and the Furious movie. I just want to watch dope ass
trashy action movies. Oh my god, we should throw Torque on there. Have you seen Torque? It's Fast and the Furious with motorcycles. It stars Ice Cube and Adam Scott is in it as an FBI agent, like not in a funny role. It's like but when he was trying to be a serious actor. I mean, he is a serious actor, but it's oh my god, pure perfection.
Okay, so we need to do like Trash Panda season where we're just like rummaging through the garbage and finding little gems. Because let me tell you, I have a pretty intense, pretty serious love of what are considered like dumb action movies. I fucking love them. I fucking love them. Okay.
I mean, they're great. Yeah.
I'm a serious intellectual, and also I like cotton candy for my brain sometimes. And if you want more cotton candy for your brain, you can find us on the ultimate cotton candy, which is social media. You can find us on Instagram at Brother Sibling Movie. You can find us on YouTube at Brother Sibling Movie. You can email us your thoughts, your takeaways, your opinions that we will legitimately
Question mark?
probably make fun of, but we'll also take seriously. It's a both and. Again, it's a both and.
You better know that we have a strong bad email level of takedown of bad sentence structure, so be prepared.
Look. Marta Kurna and Nancy Vega raised us.
That's
and
right.
You best believe they're good writers. But you can email us.
Best believe that they are grammar Nazis, is how I would put it.
Correct. We say with love. You can email us, brothersiblingmovie@gmail.com. You can also find us on LetterBoxd at BSM Pod. Evan, where can the good people find you?
Art of Evan K on all the socials. That's Instagram, Facebook, etc., etc. You can find me on my website, artofevank.com. Check out my work and find me on LetterBoxd too as Evan Kerna, EVANKOEHNE.
Yeah.
What about you? Where can the good people find a Mar?
At a local Master Gardeners event near you in Chesterfield
At a local
County,
masturbating
Virginia.
event near you.
I'm really big into. No, I'm not even going to say it because I'm like, all my fellow Master Gardeners are like 70 and they're very nice ladies. Their names are all like
Agatha, like your AC.
No, you know what? They're all like
Aga Lee.
That's only our great aunt. They're all like Nancy.
That's the craziest name I've ever heard.
Aga Lee, Von Seal.
Von Seal. These are people in our family.
These are people in our family. These are people in our like great aunts. Our grandfather's sisters were Aga Lee, Wave, Von Seal, and Allie Bell.
Incredible. Just incredible.
Fucking let's go, Oklahoma. I don't know. People can find me on Instagram at Lon Daddy Lives Here if you want to. There's not a lot going on there. I'm not going to lie. At Lon Daddy Lives Here. There's underscores between the words. It's fine.
But they can see you.
So much.
They can find the people. They can find you and the people and the weeds and whatever you're going through in your.
It's mostly like if you just like if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area and you go to like a Master Gardener event for Chesterfield County, there's like a good chance I'm there. Come say hi. No one will because all of our listeners are our friends and family in California. But we love you all. You never know. We love you all, Evan.
Bring out the Master Gardeners.
Again, I'm like the youngest one.
By a like few decades.
By like decades.
By more than one decade.
Multiple.
Probably more than 2 or 3 decades.
Evan, I love you so much.
I love you so much too. Thank you for talking Big Fish with me.
Thank you for talking Big Fish with me. Guess what, Evan? I'm going to leave you with this.
You got a thought?
I do. Go watch a movie with your sibling.
Go watch a movie with your sibling.
Fuck you, I won't. Ha 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 ha. Demon.
Well, I will.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Love you too. Have a good one.